Hey guys, it's Ellen, and today I'm going to be filming my May wrap-up. I think I did pretty well this month in terms of the number of books that I've read, especially considering the fact that I had finals and lots of essays at the end of the school year, and it's just kind of like a crazy time, but I actually ended up getting a lot of reading done, so I was really proud of myself. The first book that I finished in May is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This one I started it in April, and then I finished it in May, and when I first started it, I didn't think I was going to like it because it was kind of seemed like a typical new adult kind of book where it was a little bit, it takes place in high school. I think she is a senior. It was a little bit cliche with meeting the boy and like, I don't know. So it was a little bit cliche in the beginning, but as the story progressed and the relationship in here progressed, I really got on board with it and I loved it, and the whole backstory that was revealed was great. Well, it was tragic, but it was really interesting. I found that it brought everything together in a really interesting way. I did give this one 5 out of 5 stars. Will say that I had a little bit of an issue just with the beginning, it being a little cliche, and also the main character. The main character, Sky, I found it a little bit unrealistic that she would like not know anything about technology at all. Like she doesn't even know what LOL means, which is a little bit, I mean, in this day and age, like, is that really a possibility? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That seemed a little bit far-fetched for me, but I mean, it was easy to get over, and I really did enjoy the story a lot. So yeah, if you're interested in Colleen Hoover, you should definitely check this one out. I know a lot of people have read Ugly Love and really enjoyed that one, but I started here, and I'm really happy that I did because I really enjoyed it. The next book that I read will come as no surprise because so many people have read this one in May. It came out in May, and it's Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. Yeah, so it's a start to a new fantasy series. I don't know how many books are going to be in this series, but this one is a loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast, where the main character, Feyre, she accidentally kills a fairy, and her punishment is having to go and live with the fairies, and there's some gorgeous male fairies that just with beautiful personalities and looks that were really fun to read about. I marked up a bunch of places in here too where I just found that the writing was beautiful, or something that Sarah J. Maas wrote really resonated with me. And this was a great, just like summary, fun fantasy read, and I really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing where this series goes. Since there are so many more books out in the Throne of Glass series, I do think that I'm sort of more invested in that world as of right now, but I really do think that I can get totally on board with this and love the characters and just really enjoy the ride on this series. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, of course. The next book I listened to on audiobook, and it was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And I wasn't sure what I was going to think of this one going in, mostly because I've heard mixed reviews. Some people absolutely love it, and some people really don't think the reveal was that exciting. I loved it. I loved it. I think listening to it was really interesting. The reveal, blew my mind. I was crying. It just was, I don't know, I felt really connected with the characters. It was a really short read, which was good for an audiobook. And I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because I just enjoyed the ride and I loved the reveal. It was just an overall really good read. The next book that I finished is a book that I've been saying I wanted to read for a really long time, and I finally did. And I'm so happy that I did. It's The Boundless by Kenneth Oppel or Oppel, I'm not sure. I really like this. Apparently it's like a middle grade book, which, I mean, it kind of seems like in between young adult and middle grade, mostly because the character's a little bit younger. But this cover is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to like display it on my bookcase. But I also really like the story. I was getting like a Water for Elephants vibe, kind of like a night circus vibe. Even though the circus in this is like not the whole story, it's more about like the train. I really found the descriptions of the things on the train were really interesting to me. Like each car has its own like really interesting setting to it, and I just love that. It was like a really cool adventure. The characters were fun. There was some like scary and like violent intrigue and like a chase scenes and stuff, and I really liked it. I gave this one also a 5 out of 5 stars. Continuing on with the books that I absolutely love this month, I read another book that I loved. Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is also another book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I was like, why the heck haven't I read this yet? what was I thinking? And really, it was so good. It was just as good, if not better, than all the hype said. I loved it. I just loved it. The main character, you probably know about this book. It's sort of a retelling of Cinderella. I guess, again, a loose retelling. And Cinderella, or Cinder, is a cyborg. And there's this sort of disease going around, and in this world, there's this like interworld drama between these people from another planet and then people on Earth. And that sort of plays into Cinder, and she has like an important role that she doesn't know about in this whole plot. I loved it, and I can't wait to continue on with Scarlet. It's actually going to be in my June TBR, because I have to know more. I know it's going to be a different story with like a different main character, but I'm hoping Cinder's going to be in there somewhere because I love her, and I also love what's her name? Oh my gosh. Aiko. Oh, Aiko. I also really love Aiko, which is the, she's not a cyborg. What is she called? She's like the robot that Cinder takes care of and like lives with their family. And she is so sassy and adorable. I love her. Love her so much. Another 5 out of 5 star book. The next 2 books I read I didn't love as much, but they were still enjoyable. This one is Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. I did enjoy this, and I enjoyed like the mental illness aspects of it. I didn't love how it wrapped up at the end. I was a little confused, a little disappointed. I actually watched the movie for this one. It's totally different. I think I'm going to do a video about like the book to movie adaptation, but it really was not the same. I almost liked the movie better. I don't know. There were some points in the book where I just like was upset about what happened, and then they sort of did something different in the movie, and I was pretty happy with that. But overall, the writing was really great. I loved reading from Pat's point of view because he is almost like childish. He's like very unstable, and it was a really interesting point of view to read from. So, and there were also times where he knew that he was a little like off in the head, like maybe he wasn't getting everything quite right, but he still couldn't like, I don't know, he couldn't accept reality as it was, and that was a really interesting point of view, and I think that Matthew Quick really captured that well, even though it's kind of hard to read about. Yeah, so I like this one. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is The Unbound by Victoria Schwab. This is the second book in the archived duology, I believe, and I read the archived last month, and I liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was kind of slow going at the beginning, but the sort of action part of it really drew me in, and I really liked it. And then this book, I was really disappointed in. I just didn't even think that much happened in it, and I thought that there was, the things that did happen, I feel like the main character didn't need to get herself involved with. Like, I was just frustrated with her the whole time. I was like, can you just step back and like not? Can you not, please? Yeah, not my favorite. Also, there's like a kind of a weird love triangle, sort of, not really, and I didn't think that was necessary or enjoyable, and the writing was still great because it's Victoria Schwab and I love her writing, but the story in general was bleh to me. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Next, I read another 5 out of 5 star books, which would sort of brought it up from those last ones, and this is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslye Walton. This book, it's so weird. It's so weird, but it's so good. I don't know where to start to like explain it. So it's like, so the premise of the book is that the main character was born with wings, but that's not the whole story. She talks about, she's sort of like an omniscient narrator, and she talks about her entire family throughout many generations and sort of what they went through, and there's so many like weird quirky things in the family that's like you're not sure if that's really true or like can that really happen. So like definitely magical realism. I mean, she's born with wings, that's not real. But it was beautiful. It was so beautiful, and it went in a direction that I was not expecting, and I loved it. There was a very sad scene, and I kind of saw that one coming, but I didn't want it to happen, and then it happened, but it was handled really well. The only thing I'll say about this is I well, I guess it's a good thing that it kept me thinking about it for a long time after I read it, because I just couldn't get this book out of my head and these characters. But also, I won't give any spoilers, but the last scene I was very confused about. There's like two options of what could have happened, and I'm not sure what happened, I'm gonna be honest. If anybody wants to like message me and be like, hey, it's obviously this, like, please let me know, because I was like, what? Is that real? Did that happen? Or is she imagining that? I don't know. But the ending really kept, like, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. But this whole book is beautifully written. The characters are wonderful. It's just weird and wonderful. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read in May is Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. I picked this one up from the library, obviously, and because it's sort of a short read, and as you know, if you watch any of my videos, I love Every Day by David Levithan, and so I wanted to just eat up all of his writing and see what else he has to offer. And this is one of his more famous books, so I decided to pick this one up, and I really liked it a lot. I mean, there's not a lot to it because it's super short, but of course, it's about a boy meeting a boy and the relationship there. It takes place in high school, so there's other dramas that happen, like relationship dramas, friend dramas, but they were just really well done, and I think they were realistic. And the main character lived in this sort of idyllic town where I don't know if like there are actually any towns like that in the world, where being homosexual is very accepted, being transsexual is also very accepted. There's a trans character in here, many gay characters. It's just like open queerness that I love. It's really awesome. So I don't know if that's like sort of just like a utopia of a town, or if it's like a realistic town. Maybe David Levithan knows of a town like this. I don't, but I wish I did, because it's awesome. Yeah, so I love the characters in this. Writing was beautiful. The themes were wonderful. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I just decided that I'm going to include this book because I finished it on June 1st, but I read most of it in May, so I'm just gonna throw it on in here. And I reread Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from. But I had forgotten how much I love Harry Potter, which sounds so stupid because obviously I love Harry Potter. I'm not a crazy person. But I used to be obsessed with Harry Potter when I was little, and I guess I just like didn't remember that. And then I saw this on my shelf and it was calling out to me, and I was like, I just want to pick that up and just give it maybe just a couple chapters I'll read. I got so sucked into it, and now I am officially starting the series over, and I want to finish it by the end of the year. I mean, if I don't, it's not a big deal, but I've just been loving it so much, and I just like zoomed right through this. It's very different than I remember, because I haven't read the book since I was very young, maybe like 7 or 8. So, yeah, it was very different. But it was so good. Oh, it's so good. It's like such a nostalgic read. And I mean, obviously I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Duh. Alright guys, those are all the books that I read in the month of May. Let me know what you read in May. Have you read any of these books, and what did you think of them? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!